Come on, let's go. Hey, Wrightsville chillin', we vibin'. Sip a cold one on Palm Tree Island. When the tide come in, gotta love it. Putting money in the meter, paddle boarding. Yeah, hands up if you hear me. We let loose, then we hit.
And welcome back to the Palm Tree Podcast, where we talk about all things Wrightsville Beach. And today we are going to dive into sailing. And we are very fortunate and excited to have our guest. It's Matty Roberts of Soundside at the Blockade Runner. Matty, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Had a really fun day today. I brought a boat from the Blockade Runner down to Hampstead to get hauled out and came down here to work on my final exam for my students for Friday's class. So stoked to be here with you now.
Tell me about sailing. Tell me about your passion for it, how you've gotten involved in it. What is it you do?
Well, what I do is I run the Blockade Runner Sailing School, which is an ASA accredited sailing school, and I also run Wrightsville Performance Sailing, which is a more kind of dynamic, fun intro to sailing. We call it kind of like the gateway drug to sailing, to get people on a fast boat, moving around, getting involved, and trying to elicit the fun parts and expose them to sailing and see if it's something that they want to pursue. So that's what my big thing is getting people out on the water and seeing if sailing's the right fit for them.
Okay. What's kind of your background? Did you sail since you were a kid?
Yeah, sailed as a child growing up to some degree, but it was really growing up in the historical parts of Virginia and this area that led me to all the museums and getting exposed to the kind of heritage of sailing and wanting to be part of those kind of grand adventures that you see. And that led me to kind of leave here after getting my degrees at UNCW and Cape Fear and pursued kind of a life sailing for about 7 or 8 years, and finally hit the switch, done with adventure and ready to come back and kind of give back and share what I've learned along the way.
All right, well, we're not going to skip over that little 7 to 8 years right there. Sailing adventures, give me the highlights of this. It wasn't like you were just sticking around local waters, right?
No, it was it just everything fell in my lap after graduating from college. That I got put on I got the opportunity to work using my degree, teaching marine biology, scuba diving, and sailing around the world with this program called Semester that got to do that for about 4 or 5 years, and that really let me cut my teeth, on some big trips and getting my, teaching skills down. We had 26 students that we'd sail about 5,000 miles every trip, and they would get credit for 4 college classes, and just had a blast doing that right out the gate early in my career, and culminated with doing several other sails across the Pacific and other, racing in the Caribbean on larger super yachts that just gave me all the sailing fix that I needed at a kind of progressively early stage in life. So I'm really excited to be able to get to come back to my hometown and kind of improve and recreate the sailing scene that this area is definitely deserving of.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that. Like, a lot of times people think motorboats or jet skis or, sailing doesn't necessarily pop up, maybe because it's intimidating to some people, right? So when you think of our area and the value of it, what comes to mind?
Well, sailing has a rich history in this area, but with the kind of the way that the economic growth of everything has happened, we've lost a few of the boat slips. Sailboats, they have the deep keels and deep rudders that it takes a lot of water, and there's just a limited number of spots in Wrightsville Beach to be able to have a sailboat that has a keel. So let's just say a sailboat over 25 feet, there's not too many spots that have that deep water ability. And once, let's call it a sailor from the 70s or 80s gives up their spot, and then a powerboat comes there and takes that spot, there's no getting that back. Those boat slips are so coveted that that's what's kind of affected the scene here. This is historically, it's got the second oldest yacht club in the nation here, However, the sailing used to be tremendous in the 70s and 80s, but it's just the cycles and the way that time works out that it's, declined over the years. But there's no reason why it's not going to come roaring back whenever the time's right. So we're starting to see that uptick with people interested, and people come out of the woodwork once they see that something is available and it's got a little bit of momentum. People jump all over it, and they just need to see that their buddy's doing it and that it is something that this area can offer, because a lot of people just don't realize it.
Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to, right? It's just probably exposure to the idea that it's available, and then maybe a little bit of intimidation on what you got to do. And, I have some of my fondest memories. My dad was big into sailing, and we had a little West White Potter. That was like our primary one. He had a couple other broken sailboats in the yard growing up. But, yeah, for you, what is it about the process or the experience of sailing compared to a motorboat or something else? Like, what is that feeling? How does it resonate?
Well, like you just said about, your father with the broken sailboats, in the yard, you want to go sailing, you got to fix stuff and get it going and get it working. And that's what one of the big differences with being on a sailboat and a motorboat is. A lot of people, get on a motorboat, and if it doesn't crank on the first couple times, it's just call Cito and day's over, guys. Let's call it a day. Big failure, big F. Well, sailing is you keep going. You can keep going no matter what. There's this attitude that you can jerry-rig something, improve something, lead something, orientate something, and just be more self-sufficient. And you don't need everything to work properly the first time. You can be creative. You can, have the fun re-engineering things and making yourself go as fast or efficient as you want to go. And it's just a great feeling to have that freedom and flexibility to be using the wind and not be so reliant on, mechanical and electrical systems to function perfectly, to be able to enjoy yourself. And what that allows a whole lifestyle to be created, much more, I feel like, than the traditional power boats, where that can be a lifestyle, but they're just two very drastically different.
Well, and
situations.
akin to surfers talking about that direct connection with the ocean. I mean, is that something it feels like, without getting too kind of existential, it feels like when you're sailing, there's a little bit more of a connection with nature there. Is that something you experience?
Yeah, that's true, and that's all there. And I'll probably always kind of shy away from that question a little bit, just because it is something that I feel like everyone just innately has this great connection with the ocean. So I just don't feel like you need to really pursue that, talking about everyone has their own, moments, just staring at the ocean, enjoying it. So I have that, and I'll always have that. But sailing's just, it's much bigger than just, the connection, the feeling that's associated. It's more of everything. To me.
So over there at Soundside, like, what kind of, if I was wandering down there, or maybe if I was staying at Blockade Runner, or if I'm in town, like, what kind of things can I do?
One of the best options, that if you just want to go have fun and kind of dip your toe into sailing, is you can do something called tri-sailing, where you'll go out with one of our instructors, that usually a college age person, so they're really fun, and they got the biggest smile on their face. They're just loving life. And so you hop on a boat with them, and they're going to show you the ropes. And in about 25 minutes or so, they'll be able to give you enough instruction that you're able to sail around and have some fun. If you feel good and you want to drop the instructor off, you can take the boat back out for, the remaining amount of time, 30 minutes to another hour that you have left, and really get your hands on it yourself. We want people to, try to build their confidence as soon as they're ready to go out there and feel the freedom and the joy of just getting to be out on the water. And figuring it out is so much fun to watch everyone do. I just love watching people go out there, and you need to have a little bit of instruction, but let your brain and let everything kind of sink in and figure it out for yourself is a really fun way to see people succeed.
What kind of boats are we thinking, so people don't think you're not going to come down there, and don't be scared, you're not going to be piloting a 30-foot sailboat? It's probably like Pram, Sunfish. What type of boats are they?
The Hobie Wave is just this great boat. That's what I was talking about before, and it's about a 14-foot boat that's made out of that same material that the big boards, that is that plastic stuff that's like pretty much indestructible. It's an incredible material, and the boat's made out of that, so it's very forgiving. It doesn't have the boom, the rigid horizontal piece that you hear about, people getting whacked on the head and stuff like that. It just has a piece of fiberglass that kind of keeps the sail stretched out. So it's very forgiving. It's very much a toy. It's a blast, and like I said, low consequences, lots of fun. So you get out on that and just enjoy yourself. And then whenever you've committed that sailing's fun, I want to know more, I want to do more, then you get kind of upgraded to a fiberglass boat with all the bells and whistles that a traditional sailboat rigging will have. And then you're really, you're becoming a full-fledged sailor at that point.
Okay. One of the other neat things that I saw you guys are doing is your boat, the Bella. Tell me, the Bella's new, right? Tell me all about that.
Yeah, that was a curveball surprise that we weren't expecting to be getting. Bella's a 45-foot catamaran that's new to us. Got it in the middle of June, which, as you all know, June's middle of the season, and we had this opportunity to purchase it, and so none of us were going to say no. So we're going to do all this extra work, and of course we're going to do that. And we have this big, beautiful new boat that it gives us the opportunity. The best thing about it is not only all the great times and learning opportunities on it, but it gives us the ability to travel to St. Thomas and the U.S. Virgin Islands, where we can have a successful off season. We're still going to be based here in Wrightsville Beach and have a presence and do sailing, but as we know, it's tough to get people to come down. So this gives us the opportunity to keep some of our staff that we want to keep gainfully employed throughout the off season, going and teaching sailing somewhere warm and tropical. So anyone that wants to, make the flight down, flights have gotten really good. As we know, our airport, has gotten a lot better options with flights, and so we're really stoked to.
So if I, with somebody here from Wilmington, it's not just for people who are down there living it. If I decide I wanted to fly down there and book the boat or do that, that's a possibility?
That's right, and you can do, you can have as much fun and learn as much as you want or as little as you want on the charter. We want to make sure everyone, feels like it's not all about learning. You got to be in the right, headspace and,
sure,
wanting to learn whenever, you're just having the best day. We don't want to be jamming a book in your face. Enjoy yourself and just, enjoy the lifestyle. So you're learning the lifestyle as much as you're learning, the vocabulary and the, different procedures in the text. And
I imagine you'd get a range, right? All the way from people who really want to learn some stuff to want to learn a little bit. Some people who just want a pleasure cruise, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's wide open for all of that?
That's exactly right.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about what is special to you about Wrightsville Beach in particular.
Wrightsville Beach, it's got to be related to the clarity of the water and also just the general geography. So I'll just take a second to kind of give my spiel on why we're so lucky, and if anyone's wondered why the water's so beautiful here, we have the Gulf Stream about 70 miles off the coast that is the same water that's going right past, St. Thomas. All that Caribbean water goes up our coast, and there's eddies that are little vortexes and little vortices that spin off of that come in a little closer to the shore, and it gets washed in or blown in with the other currents. And being on the other side of the Cape Fear Shoals, we really don't have the kind of influx of river water that's
sure,
darker and muddier.
Right.
It just gives us this beautiful environment.
And this last summer, it's blue every summer, but this last summer, man, it was crystal. And it's funny, usually whenever we have people who visit in town and we go out on the boat, Angie, my wife, always makes us go up to at least Mason's Inlet or Riches, because it's blue and then bluer and bluer, and people don't believe, they think you've put filters on your phone.
And then what you got to do is whenever you're showing people for the first time, Get them to try all the different polarized lenses, like try the amber lens versus like,
okay.
oh my gosh, it's so cool to check out the water with,
Yeah.
just steal somebody's sunglasses for a second and
I
just.
think my $3.99 Walmart glasses are probably not up to the task of that.
But if you're going to be in such a beautiful area, you got to get a good pair of lenses to
really see the detail and see stuff that gets lost in the glare.
But besides the water clarity, the geography with the deeper water, like I was alluding to earlier, that's what makes a sailing area, distinguished from Myrtle Beach. Doesn't have the deep water. Topsail, all the places to the north of us, they don't have the deep water inlets. They don't have the dredging and the tidal flow that just rips the sand out the jetties and keeps everything moving and deep, and the perfect opportunity for sailing. We have probably in the summer, we can sail 27 days out of the month with south consistent, nice wind. The sea breeze is very predictable, and we don't ever have to cancel our sailing lessons. We're going to have the wind. It's going to be, if not perfect, it's going to be manageable. And it's great that we do any day that it is light or it is slightly heavier, we get to teach the fundamentals of, you still have to sail in light wind. You have to be able to sail in heavy wind. So it's just a great all-around situation, from the clarity of the water, the geography, having one of the biggest, best inlets in the whole state, right, half a mile down the way in Banks Channel. It has every component that any, world-class sailing destination would want to have. We just don't have the volume of sailors that used to be here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still encouraging, though. I see moored up quite a few at least,
I was hoping we could get to that, because that is the biggest positive indicator of everyone's noticed how many boats have been filling up in Wrightsville Beach.
For sure.
Everyone's figuring out Wrightsville Beach every year. And I've been, paying attention, more than the average person, probably, because that's my favorite thing to do is check out boats, see where they're coming from, what's their story, where they're going, what are they all about. And people, they're posting up and they're staying here, and you can just tell them that they're looking around. They're thinking that this is as good as the destination that they're going to end up at.
Got it all right here.
Kind of do.
Yeah.
So we're just looking forward to hopefully getting involved with that cruising scene of the people traveling north and south through this area, and what that can do to help elevate the status of sailing here at Wrightsville Beach.
Yeah, and just a quick note for those who are completely unfamiliar with boats, when he's talking about the deep water being the advantage, he touched on a little earlier, the keel is essentially on the bottom of the boat, and give them a little kind of primer on why deep water is important there.
There is no sailing without the keel of the boat, and I won't get too much into it, but all the force and the power that the sails create has to be compensated for by the keel. That's what lets you travel upwind and keeps the boat from just getting blown over on its side. So it's
pretty amazing.
Right, and the deep water drives the currents. It keeps everything moving and keeps everything carved out and keeps things from shoaling up. And that's just a great feature that, the paddleboarding and kayaking is great here as well. But we do have a tremendous amount of current. The thing I like to point out to people is that Masonboro Inlet is this relatively narrow strip of water, but it's very deep. All the water that goes through all the creeks, Bradley Creek, past Palm Tree Island, and our whole general area for miles, goes in and out of that every single day. And so that's a tremendous amount of volume of water going through a small, narrow area with the jetties that really force it into kind of, it's called a venturi, whenever you just accelerate a large area through a small space like that. Which we have great kayaking, we have great paddleboarding, but everyone will tell you that, the currents are, you have to pay attention to them. The good kayakers, the good paddleboarders, the good sailors, the good boaters, they'll always use the current to their advantage. Sure. And, part of the attitude with sailing is you just have to be patient and not force anything. We're sitting down here, by the river right now. All the sailboats that used to come into this port, they used the current to push them in. So they had to be patient. They had to time everything. No one's going to sail and force himself, upwind into a current. You just don't do that. So it's this whole different mentality and attitude that comes with going with the flow, which is, the cliches there, but it's
not a bad cliche though.
Those cliches are, that's why they're cliches. But we try to stay away from them no matter what.
That's right.
And there's other things to do. There's so much time in your life with those kind of events is so important. That's just something we all need to take into consideration as we're watching our home of Wrightsville Beach get more and more developed and bigger. We have to just take advantage of certain timing and events that happen. And whenever it's a rainy day and everyone gets off the beach, as a local that it's going to stop raining in a couple minutes. So go ahead and head on down to the beach and you'll get a spot and you'll be able to fill in and have a good day.
The natural rhythms there.
That's exactly right. It's figuring out those rhythms that, it's great to have podcasts like this where you can kind of chat about these little nuanced things that are not so obvious.
Well, I'm going to give you a lot easier questions now that you can just rattle on off.
Lob them.
I'm lobbing them at you.
Or put them on the no, lob them. I can. You swing harder.
Gentle lob or fastball. Let's see what you're up for here.
I don't know how my coordination is these days. We'll see.
Favorite place to eat on Wrightsville Beach?
Tower 7. Chips and salsa all the way. Everything on the menu is just killer.
Yeah, man.
Margaritas. We started buying the margarita mix and
Okay.
taking it to all of our events. Chips and salsa for any event that we do is just it's a prerequisite.
So, favorite beach cocktail, sailing cocktail. How about that?
Oh, these really are easy. The painkiller is the most. Well, all right. The painkiller is nowadays one of the most commonly seen sailor drinks, and I say sailor drinks because it hails from the British Virgin Islands, which is a sailing capital, if not the sailing capital of the world. And if you don't know what that is, it's orange juice, pineapple juice, dark rum, this kind of cream of coconut substance called Coco Lopez, all mixed together with nutmeg on top, and it's killer. But dark and stormies are the other traditional sailor drink: ginger beer, dark rum, and a wedge of lime. So those are the.
Okay.
It's all about rum.
That's we're talking sailing and the islands. We're not going to be talking about Irish whiskey.
No.
Yeah, and you can get those at Blue Water or Dockside Fish
Dockside
House.
started doing a pretty good one.
Who does that?
Dockside with
Dockside's got a pretty solid one.
Yeah.
Yes,
and that's just you can actually we sail onto the dock at Dockside and go get painkillers, and we feel pretty good about ourselves, even though if we're not in like the Caribbean. That's what's great about Wrightsville Beach is you don't need the Caribbean if you have Wrightsville Beach. So,
well, hey, what a way to end this podcast with that gem you just dropped right there, sir. Look, it's been a pleasure. I'm excited to learn more about sailing, and I hope our audience got a little bit of insight and learned a little bit, and hopefully more people want to come out and try it. And if they do, what's the easiest way to find you, call you, contact you?
Probably going online. If you Google sailing, will come up strongly rather than memorize Wrightsville Performance Sailing. If you can commit that,
Okay.
WP Sail is our WPSail.com is our website, though.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on the show,
Appreciate
and
it,
hope to see you soon.
You got it, man.
It don't matter if you're old or you're young, hanging out on the beach and steady soaking up the sun. Go. Real good vibe, everything you need right here. We just want to Wrightsville chill. I just want to Wrightsville chill. Hey, pour your wine.